As the shocking news of Lil Durk's arrest broke, another name unexpectedly resurfaced, igniting a wave of curiosity and speculation: Nicki, his estranged wife. Once the unwavering pillar of support behind one of hip-hop's biggest stars, Nicki now finds herself thrust back into the public eye. Her journey, marked by love, betrayal, and heartbreak, has captivated the internet, leaving many wondering what really happened to Nicki after her split from Durk. Nicole Conven, better known as OTF Nicki, was once inseparable from Lil Durk. She stood by his side as he rose from Chicago's underground rap scene to mainstream success. However, as Durk now faces some of the most serious charges of his career, Nicki has become an unexpected focal point of conversation. A viral post has reignited interest in her past, leading to a surge of support for the woman who was once Durk's first love and the mother of his children. But why now? Why has Nicki, who has long distanced herself from the OTF world, suddenly become the center of attention again? It all started on October 26, 2024, with a seemingly innocent post on X, formerly Twitter. A user shared an old photo of Nicki and Durk together, captioned, "Durk's going to be all right. He's bounced back before." What happened next was nothing short of extraordinary. Within hours, the post racked up over 4.9 million views and thousands of shares. Nicki's name was everywhere, as if the world had suddenly remembered the role she once played in Durk's life. This viral moment has sparked heated discussions. Some see it as a nostalgic reminder of a love story that once captivated fans, while others speculate about the deeper meaning behind Nicki's resurgence. Is this a sign of unfinished business, or simply the internet's way of revisiting the past in light of Durk's legal troubles? Regardless of the reason, one thing is certain: Nicki's story is far from over. And as the world watches Durk's fate unfold, many are now just as eager to uncover the truth behind Nicki's sudden return to the spotlight. From the very beginning, Nicki was there. So why did this post strike such a nerve? Why would a throwback photo of a couple who split over a decade ago spark so much emotion? The answer is both simple and complex. For Lil Durk's fans, Nicki represents more than just an ex. She symbolizes loyalty, authenticity, and a connection to his early days, a time that now feels almost lost. As comments flooded social media, it became clear that people had not forgotten her. One user wrote, "She was with him when he was nobody, a real one." Another added, "Without her, there would be no Durk," a statement that now carries a certain irony. Nicki wasn't just a high school sweetheart. She was a co-founder of Only the Family, OTF, alongside Durk, the mother of his children and a key figure in his rise to fame. Yet, she never asked for that title. Since their split, she has built a new life, one far removed from the chaos of the OTF lifestyle. But for many, she remains the foundation of Durk's legacy. And now, with Durk facing serious federal charges, his past with Nicki takes on a whole new significance. Fans have rallied around her, remembering the sacrifices she made when Durk was still an aspiring artist struggling to make a name for himself in Chicago. Stories have resurfaced of Nicki paying for studio sessions, supporting him when he had nothing, and standing by his side long before fame and fortune came into the picture. In many ways, Nicki is a part of Durk's history, one he can never fully erase. But for Nicki, the last decade has been about moving on. She's no longer part of OTF. Today, she is the CEO of a successful credit restoration company, The Credit Click, with a thriving social media presence and a life of her own. And despite the renewed attention, she has remained silent. No statements, no reactions, nothing about Durk or his arrest. Yet, the world won't let her leave that past behind. To fans, she is a reminder of raw beginnings, silent sacrifices, and the journey that shaped who Lil Durk is today. As Durk's life takes this dramatic turn, it feels like the world is watching Nicki too, the woman who helped build the very brand he is now fighting to protect. This viral moment, this unexpected spotlight, it's more than nostalgia. It's a reminder of loyalty, of sacrifices often forgotten, and of a legacy still deeply connected to a woman who has long since moved on. Nicki's resurgence might just be the unspoken chapter in Lil Durk's ongoing saga. The story of Nicki and Lil Durk is one filled with love, loyalty, and heartbreak. Yet, even after all these years, the details of why she left him in 2013 remain clouded by speculation and unanswered questions. Now, with Durk embroiled in a high-stakes legal battle, Nicki's name has once again surged into the headlines, an unexpected resurgence she neither anticipated nor sought. Durk's arrest sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community, drawing the attention of fans, critics, and media outlets hungry for details. But for Nicki, this was more than just another headline. It was an unwanted reminder of a past she had worked hard to leave behind. Life in the public eye is relentless. Just when you think you've moved on, it has a way of pulling you back in. This time, it wasn't just about Durk. It was about a shared history, a connection Nicki couldn't fully escape no matter how much she tried. As the legal drama unfolded, her social media presence became a focal point. Every post, every picture, every word she shared seemed to fuel the public's curiosity, reigniting discussions about her role in Durk's past and whether her influence on his life still lingered. Meanwhile, Durk faces what could be the most serious charges of his career: conspiracy to commit murder for hire. According to an FBI affidavit released on October 25, 2024, federal prosecutors allege that Durk, whose real name is Durk Devontae Banks, financed a planned act of revenge.
So far, I've seen one text that says, "Don't have them associate my name with any kind of flights that they're taking." Certainly that's not a good text, but is that the only text? Because that doesn't, that in itself doesn't stand on its own. Certainly it's circumstantial. But like I said, we have to wait and see what other evidence they have.
The case ties back to a 2022 gas station shooting, where the intended target was rapper Quando Rondo, but his cousin was tragically killed instead. Authorities claim that Durk and members of his rap collective, OTF, orchestrated the attack in retaliation for a long-standing feud. As Durk remains behind bars, his high-profile attorney, Bradford Cohen, has expressed confidence in his defense. Speaking on Law and Crime's YouTube podcast, Cohen emphasized that the government's case hinges on a single text message from Durk. In this message, Durk appears to distance himself from the travel plans of certain OTF members, stating, "Don't have them associate my name with any kind of flights that they're taking." Cohen acknowledges that while this message isn't ideal, it is far from definitive proof of intent or direct involvement in a conspiracy. He argues that the text is circumstantial at best and can be interpreted in multiple ways. "Is that the only text?" Cohen asked. "Because if that's all there is, it's far from enough to stand on its own in a court of law." As the legal battle intensifies, the world watches to see how it will unfold. And in the midst of it all, Nicki remains an unexpected figure in the narrative. A woman who once stood by Durk's side, now trying to move forward, only to be pulled back into the story that refuses to let her go. This brings us to a crucial question. Is the government's case against Lil Durk strong enough to hold up in court? Bradford Cohen, Durk's attorney, remains unconvinced. In his view, significant gaps exist in the prosecution's argument. If the government cannot establish a clear line of communication proving that Durk directly financed or orchestrated the alleged revenge plot, the conspiracy charge could crumble. And according to Cohen, that might very well be the case. Meanwhile, the situation appears far more dire for Durk's co-defendants. Cohen highlights that other OTF members arrested in connection with this case face a damning trail of evidence, including travel records, plane tickets, and even video surveillance. Unlike Durk, these individuals have been directly linked to the logistics of the alleged crime, from coordinating travel to renting a car used in the operation. For them, Cohen admits, the battle ahead will be significantly tougher. Yet Durk's legal landscape may look different. His defense hinges on the argument that while he may be associated with certain individuals, that alone does not equate to guilt. "I think that Durk will still have a defense," Cohen stated, emphasizing the missing pieces in the prosecution's case that leave ample room for reasonable doubt. For now, Durk's legal team is focused on dismantling the evidence against him, challenging whether it truly implicates him as an active participant in the alleged conspiracy. Their argument, mere association with people who may have had their own agendas, does not make him responsible for their actions. But the question remains, will this defense be enough? Or could new evidence surface that changes everything? For Lil Durk, this isn't just a legal battle. It's a fight for his freedom, his reputation, and the legacy he's built in the music world. Facing a potential life sentence, he and his attorneys know they cannot afford any missteps. With intense media scrutiny, every new revelation will be dissected by fans, critics, and legal analysts alike. And for Nicki, this moment was far from easy. She had moved on, built a new life, and distanced herself from the OTF narrative. Yet, as Durk's case unfolded, she was being pulled right back into the spotlight. It was a test, not just of public perception, but of her own ability to maintain the life she had fought to create. So, how did Nicki respond? She kept her focus on what truly mattered: her own path, her own success, and a future unshackled from the past. For Nicki, what mattered most wasn't the headlines or the renewed attention. It was her children, her goals, and the life she was building on her own terms. There were no public comments, no statements, just quiet resilience in the face of an overwhelming media storm. This time she was determined to protect her peace. She understood that the public's fascination with her past didn't define her present or her future. As Durk's court dates approached, the media spun the story in every direction possible. Old photos, interviews, and speculations resurfaced, digging up memories Nicki had long wanted to leave behind. They weren't just covering Durk's legal troubles, they were covering her. But to understand the full picture, we have to go back to the beginning. Before the bright lights, before Lil Durk became a household name, there was simply Durk Banks, a teenager growing up in Chicago, navigating a city that gave little to kids from his neighborhood. And before the world knew his name, there was Nicki. Meeting Nicki was like finding an anchor in a world that constantly threatened to pull him under. She wasn't just his high school sweetheart. She was his support system, his motivation, his family. The OTF family that fans know today, it was built on the foundation of Nicki and Durk's relationship. Durk often spoke about how Nicki was there before the fame. Back then, he was just a young man with a love for music and a dream that felt impossible. While others doubted, Nicki believed. She saw something special in him, something worth chasing. In Durk's eyes, that kind of loyalty was everything. When he spent nights grinding in the studio, Nicki was there. While others questioned his choices, she stood by his side, believing in him even when he barely believed in himself. In a world where trust was rare, her faith in him was sacred. She helped him stay focused through the struggles of the streets, the temptations, and the pain. She wasn't just his partner. She was the person who kept him grounded. As Durk's dreams grew, so did their love. They had their first child together, a son, Angelo, a bond that deepened their connection and gave them even more purpose. They weren't just a couple anymore, they were a family. And with every step Durk took toward success, Nicki was right beside him, pushing him, supporting him, believing in him, even when the road ahead was uncertain. As Durk's star rose, so did the pressures, the lifestyle, the temptations, the constant demands of being in the spotlight. Everyone wanted a piece of him. And for OTF, what started as a close-knit vision of loyalty and family became something much bigger, much more chaotic. And somewhere in that whirlwind, the love story that began before the fame, the money, and the world's attention started to crack under the weight of it all. The lifestyle was pulling Durk further away from the quiet life he had with Nicki and their kids. They had built a family, but that family was now feeling the strain of his rising stardom. Durk and Nicki welcomed their second child, a beautiful daughter named Bella Banks. But by then, the pressures of fame and the demands of the music industry had created a divide that was becoming harder to ignore. The relationship that once felt unbreakable was starting to crumble. OTF, the music, the tours, and the fame. Everything became too much, leaving little room for the love that had started it all. In 2013, the news broke that Nicki and Durk had decided to part ways. For Nicki, it was the end of a chapter that had defined her life, a chapter filled with both love and sacrifice. Even after the split, they remained connected. Through their children, their shared memories, and the legacy of OTF that Nicki had helped build. In interviews, Durk has spoken about Nicki with respect, acknowledging that she was there in the beginning, helping him chase a dream that seemed impossible. He says he'll always be grateful for that. But every relationship has a breaking point. As Durk's name shined brighter, the temptations of fame became harder to resist. The rumors started as whispers, then headlines, then undeniable evidence. Nicki saw the messages, the late-night calls, the photos Durk couldn't explain. It wasn't just about betrayal. It was about losing the man she once believed would always be by her side. The love was still there, but trust was gone. And without trust, there was no future. Nicki knew she had to leave. It wasn't about giving up on love, it was about preserving it. For herself, for her children, for the woman she was becoming. She chose to move forward, to reclaim her independence, and to build a life that was no longer defined by Lil Durk or their past. Determined to build something of her own, Nicki pursued a long-held aspiration, becoming the CEO of her own company, The Credit Click. In her new role, she applied her experience, insight, and empathy to help clients navigate financial challenges, from credit repair to budgeting and long-term financial planning. The Credit Click wasn't just a business. It was a reflection of Nicki's vision, to empower people and give them the tools to take control of their financial futures. Her hands-on approach and commitment to second chances quickly earned her a loyal clientele, allowing her to make a meaningful impact on her community. Beyond her business success, Nicki embraced her role as a dedicated mother. Raising her children as a single parent, she instilled values of resilience, kindness, and determination. She wanted them to understand that setbacks were merely stepping stones toward future success. By involving them in her journey as a businesswoman, she demonstrated the power of hard work, perseverance, and self-belief. Recognizing the power of social media, Nicki began sharing her journey on platforms like Instagram. Her authenticity and openness resonated with a growing audience inspired by her resilience. Through motivational content, financial advice, and personal insights, she built a supportive online community. The Credit Click's social media pages became a valuable resource for financial literacy, further solidifying her influence. Unlike many who chase attention, Nicki remained focused on positivity and personal growth. She steered clear of controversy, letting her work and values speak for themselves. Her journey is not just one of career success or social media influence, it's about transformation, second chances, and proving that life after heartbreak can lead to something even greater. His crew, if OTF Jam really is a snitch. Many people believe Durk saw this coming. Yella suggests that Durk may have sensed trouble long before it became public, stating, "He knew something was coming. Everybody kept saying he was trying to dodge that RICO. If everybody else knew it, you think he wasn't thinking about it?" On top of that, Mama Duck is suing him, adding even more legal pressure. What makes the OTF Jam situation even crazier is that he has allegedly released songs addressing the snitching rumors. That's right, Jam reportedly dropped a diss track, where fans believe he admits to being a rat. In the song, he raps about Durk and other OTF-affiliated members being involved in shootings. But that's not the first time Jam has released a suspicious track. One of his earlier songs, Federal Freestyle, yes, that's actually the title, raises even more eyebrows. What's even more bizarre is that this song was released on Durk's official YouTube channel right after Jam got out of jail. Durk's fans have been roasting Jam in the comments, and some of the reactions are hilarious. One person wrote, "Ayo Jam, turn your wire up, this my shit." Another joked, "Dude came home wearing a wire and still made this track in jail. That's some nasty work." All of this has led people to question OTF's loyalty. For years, Chicago has been known for having some of the most feared and respected gangsters in America, but that reputation may be changing. Even Wack 100 weighed in on the situation during an interview with DJ Vlad. Wack said, "He did 12 years, got out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him $50,000, and said there ain't no smudge on his name. But eventually, he flipped." DJ Vlad then pointed out that Jam served a 12-year sentence for attempted murder dating back to 2010. He also highlighted how suspicious it is that Jam was released just before PAB was shot. This entire situation is starting to feel like a massive conspiracy, and the real question remains, how much dirt do the feds actually have on Durk and his crew? If an official OTF member like Jam is already snitching, it could encourage others to do the same. If any of the 5 co-conspirators who were already arrested decide to cooperate with the police, Durk could be finished. The irony in all of this is that Durk didn't even want to be a gangster anymore. In September 2024, just a month before his arrest, Durk was celebrating a major milestone. His criminal record had finally been wiped clean.